Hello, everyone. Thank you all for joining in today. We'll just take 2 more minutes for a few more people to join. This is an AMA session, an Ask Me Anything session for how to close the loop on post-consumer textile waste in India. And we are happy to answer any and all of your questions. We've also received a few in advance, so we will start with those as well later on. We plan to have this as a very crisp session where we will not be preaching a lot, presenting a lot, but mostly only answering your questions. Thank you.
Hello, hello. Thanks all for joining in. And if you would like, you can also start putting in the questions on the chat. It's on the right side. You can probably you'll be able to see. And we'll take a few more minutes and let everybody join. Yes, we are recording the session and you will get the recording as well.
Alicia, I think we can start now.
Okay, amazing.
Please.
All right. So, hi again, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us today. Welcome to Inside the Loop, our Ask Us Anything session on building circular textile models that work in practice for people, for industry, and for the planet. My name is Alicia, and I work with NBU on marketing and communications. I will be moderating today's conversation. So, before we begin, I want to share why we are here. Over the last few years, through Closing the Loop program with our partners CIF, our teams have been working across an incredibly fragmented textile waste ecosystem in India. We have learned that the challenge isn't the lack of solutions, it's that the solutions don't meet each other. Today, we've opened 45-minute conversation where you can ask questions about the model, the impact, the failures, the pivots, the lessons, or where different actors, that is you all who have joined us today, can meaningfully plug in. So, just to get warmed up, I would request everybody to type in their name, their organization, if you would also want to add location, and followed by a question that you would also you'd like us to answer in this call today. We'll start the session with a few pre-submitted questions, followed by the ones that have been submitted on the chat, and we'll also open the floor for people to ask us directly. So we have Devansh with us. Devansh heads program, NVU Textiles program in India. And over to you, Devansh.
Thank you, everyone. I would love to give everyone a brief of the work that we do and then answer your questions. But to just start away, please type your name, your organization. Please ask in any question you might have for us. We are happy to address it. We are happy to address it with honesty. We are happy to address it with the learnings we've had. We are happy to address with what we have learned and where can we go from here. I am happy to also suggest how we could work together, how we can co-create together as this next stage, because I do genuinely believe that this is a problem that is a pan-India problem. It's not a problem of a few cities or a few industrial clusters, because everywhere people are there, there is post-consumer textile waste. Just a little house rules. Please keep your camera on for the duration of the webinar. Please leave your questions in the public chat. It's on the right side of your screen. And feel free to just write into us anything that you would like. I would first start by introducing what is the problem today. Post-consumer textile waste is a 4 million ton problem every year. It's often an invisible problem which has gained more visibility over the past few years, as everyone in their normal lives would also have started seeing one. You see more textiles lying around on the streets around you, and also there's a lot of unused, underused textiles in your own closets as well. With an increasing production and increasing consumption of clothing in India, there's a lot of clothing being consumed and a lot of clothing being discarded. Unfortunately, the clothes you discard, nearly 55 to 80% of them end up in landfills, and as little as 2 to 4% get recycled. We have severe social issues. There are nearly 4 to 6 million waste workers as the underbelly and backbone of the recycling industry in India. A lot of them are in our urban cities, everywhere around us, but often not focused on enough, not supported enough, a true underserved community. And most workers tend to be, especially in the textile waste space, tend to be women without stable jobs, dignified livelihoods, and safety and security of their healthcare as well. Uh, so I would like to just focus on, okay, what is this problem? The problem is at various steps why the system has not worked out as we would like it to be. The problem starts from certain challenges at the household level, then challenges at the people who collect your waste, then challenges at people who aggregate your waste, circular businesses and buyers. At household levels, there are behavioral challenges, there are inability of households to provide waste in a streamlined manner for specific textile waste collection. There are collection related challenges as to if textiles are collected, where do they go? Where is the collection happening? Then from the collection to aggregation, who is aggregating all this textile waste to generate value from it? And are there circular businesses plugging in the gap for buyers? What we have been able to do for the past 2 years, our focus has been to focus on different steps of this value chain. In terms of households, can we have more thrifting? We have more reuse of clothing so that clothing stays in the market for long and stays being used for long. And it also brings the textile industry also into a shared economy industry. Besides household, institutions generate nearly 0.3 million, 0.7 million tons of textile waste. We are building a solution specifically targeted on institutional textile waste, which can make institutions like hotels go greener. We have recently seen in an estimation that one hotel chain in India, we've done this calculations as well, can save nearly 1.5 million kilos of CO2 equivalent in 1 year if they were to just manage their textile waste better. In collection, our partner CIF is working with 7 waste management companies across the country where they help the capacity building of the waste management companies, help them build their collection channels, train waste pickers and waste workers to collect, sort, and aggregate textile waste, essentially generating green livelihoods. We are also building circular business as we see there's a lot of polyester production. We all wear a lot of polyester nowadays in our dry fit clothes, in our different kinds of outfits that you have now. Since we choose to consume a lot based on design, we have also a challenge and an increasing challenge of polyester waste. Polyester waste, because of it being a petrochemical, has very little value in the market after it is being discarded. Hence, we are focused on one solution that focuses specifically on polyester waste. On the buyer side, we are also part of an industry collaboration called Denim Deal, originated in the Netherlands. Denim Deal for the denim industry seeks to tie all of this chain together, from the households to the collectors to the aggregators to circular businesses right to the buyers, so that you create a workable model that can be scaled across the country. Ecosystem and venture building. How are CIF, Circular Apparel Innovation Factory of Intellicap and MVU working together? In this industry, there's a supply side, there's a demand side. Our partner CIF has done great work working with these waste management companies to upskill these waste management companies, making sure that textile waste is a viable value stream for these companies to leverage, and then facilitating market linkages. NVU has done the systemic analysis, partners with many of these waste management companies to solve for very critical gaps to different business solutions. Across the value chain, this is a slide I personally quite love because this shows that at different steps of the value chain, you need different solutions. This paints of how the value chain of textile discard usually is for after use and where the solutions get plugged in. I don't want to take too much time, so I'll just have you run through some. This is polyester waste in a new form with a new life as a felt product with technical abilities and technical qualities that can go into various industries like apparel, in accessories, in construction, in acoustics, in packaging, and in automobiles. New yarn, new fibers created from textile waste sourced from institutions. This is as good as fresh new material which can be plugged right back into industry. This will specifically address institutions going circular and big brands, apparel brands, home textile brands having circular procurement with post-consumer textile waste. Thrifting for all your style needs, you can go thrift more on Killit, and there are a lot of other thrifting platforms in the country where you can consume what you don't find in the markets around you at a cheaper price, which also is a behavior change model to having the textile industry become a more shared economy system. Where do we go from here? The path forward is only upwards, solving for higher volumes of textile waste with deeper partnerships with brands and retailers, a transparent, scalable, and reliable model with stronger linkages with recyclers and processors. Waste workers and small entrepreneurs are integrated with support on skilling for their growth as well. I also want to show how this value chain today is because, unlike your usual textile value chain or industrial textile value chain, this textile value chain is very decentralized because, as I mentioned, where there are people, there is post-consumer textile waste, and this is how the story today stands. Your supply of waste has been integrated now well enough by the Closing the Loop initiative by CIF and NBU. Product manufacturers are buyers are an existing chain. Is the chain where we link sources of collection and aggregation of textile waste done by waste pickers to waste processing systems which have to be brought closer to them, which helps them not only become waste management companies but essentially mini factories that produce valuable goods and services. And this is how the vision is an integrated value chain where you just cut the step of waste processing by sending waste to a different part of the country. Rather, can you upskill and upscale existing waste management companies, waste entrepreneurs, and waste picker operations to do two parts of the job: collect and aggregate, and add value to the textile waste that they have. I want to just conclude by saying our partners, we are supported by H&M Foundation, IKEA Foundation, and Alvali Philanthropies, working with nearly seven waste management companies, with three R&D partners across the country, and some of the textile industry partners who have been and who have shown themselves to be the early adopters and pioneers on whose shoulders this textile industry will become more circular and inclusive. I would request everyone to scan this QR code, which can help you understand, and it takes you to our report, which explains the entire gamut of textiles, India's textile waste landscape, especially post consumer textile waste, where you can understand Where are different challenges, where are different opportunities, and where can you essentially partner? Where can you build yourself as an entrepreneur? Where, as an NGO working in urban areas, you can contribute to the ecosystem? Alicia, over to you.
Yes, thank you so much for giving us an overview of and everybody an overview of our work. What I will do is now I slowly will go with some pre-submitted questions that we have, and it's some of the questions that we keep getting all the time. So I will start with that, and then we'll take some questions from the chat. So the first question is a little basic, and people really keep asking is that what are the different type of waste? Where do you collect it from? And some waste is contaminated. They are in different colors. So how do you really sort them to transform them into new materials?
Absolutely. So waste collection is primarily from two sources. Either it is household, which is most of the waste, and the other is wherever textile waste is consumed in businesses. Now that business can be a hospital, it could be a spa, it could be a hotel, it could be railways. So these are two primary sources where textile waste after use is generated. It is your airlines, your airports, etc. So institutional textile waste and household textile waste. Yes, textile waste does pose the challenge of how do you sort for color, composition, and contamination. That I would say that still continues to be a challenge. However, we have been able to make steps into this ecosystem to be able to better resolve this challenge. One, can we target institutional waste separately? Because institutional waste you can predict well enough where then you do not contaminate it through mixed waste channels. Can you have a human outreach to households? Our partner CIF in Kerala, in Bangalore, and other cities have shown deploying workforce on ground to do door-to-door collections specifically for textile waste, coupled with other waste streams they already collect. What this does is first it helps textile waste not come in mixed waste channels with liquid waste or wet waste or other dry waste which can contaminate it, which essentially first in the first step itself increases its value. Color and composition. Colors, our partner CIF through with different waste management companies has trained a lot of waste management companies and waste pickers to be able to sort by color. You develop a color palette in the TRFs, and according to those color palettes, you train waste workers to be able to sort by color. Composition is a more trickier thing, even though clothing today compulsorily comes with composition percentages on the fabric, but it's a little tricky and it's a low to slow to always look at it. There are quite a few composition scanning technologies coming into this country, some indigenous, some from abroad as well. A lot of them have AI and ML integration to constantly improve those technologies, which help waste pickers and waste management companies understand the composition better in the hopes that there's a hierarchy of waste. 100% cotton receives a lot of value. Monocolor, monocomposition waste receives a lot of value. So composition scanning is also coming massively in India. It is also as part of our program where some pilots have happened, which have resulted in some partners taking up composition scanners full time, where they can slowly segregate and differentiate between different waste streams so that it enables them to earn more for every kilo they capture. Alicia, next question, please. If
Yeah.
anyone has a follow-up to this question, I'm happy to address as well. Please feel free to ask.
Yes. So the next question is that we have we unlocked the way to get high quality post consumer waste like the imported ones? What happens when demand for recycled inputs grows faster than our in-house, which is the India supply quality improves?
Well, then it's only a challenge for us to improve and speed up our efforts. We do believe that a start has been made as an ecosystem where various waste management companies have come to a point where they have skills to be able to collect very well, to aggregate very well. Now, after aggregation is done, how do you sort and segregate with efficiency? And that is where, as I had shown in the integrated value chain system, we have to reimagine the waste management companies as just collection sources and aggregation sources, but rather as mini factories that one sort and segregate with efficiency and at scale, and then have these market linkages all across the country where different waste streams, micro waste streams, can generate additional value. And once the efficiencies are built inside the waste management infrastructure in the cities around us, that is when we will be able to match the pace of the industry wanting recycled inputs with a certain quality and a certain efficiency over time.
All right. Um, so, given the high complexity and
Alicia, could we come to, I believe Munish and Chaitanya have also asked two
yes,
questions. Could
yes, we
we?
can take
We
their
can also
question.
open up for Munish to ask and Chaitanya to ask this question directly to us.
Um, Unfortunately, not.
I'm
So,
really sorry. Munish, hi. You mentioned that you're a co-founder of a biotech startup looking into textile, sustainable textile solutions. I'm curious to learn about regulations policy towards environmentally harmful chemicals. Uh, Yes, Munish, thank you for asking this. At least on the textile space, currently EPR in textiles is not in India, even though it is there in EU market currently. Uh, India, I would not imagine the textile industry as siloed. Whether there are regulation policy in India versus regulation policies in EU and US, because India is also a large manufacturer of textiles which get exported as well, and hence this makes it imperative for harmful chemicals that are entering into value chains into EU and US also be affecting the value chains emanating out of India. So a lot of the brands working and originating out of these countries also are improving their value chains in India through different clusters, through different programs as well. A lot of things have happened in the Tirupur cluster recently also on weeding out harmful chemicals, weeding out emissions as well, weeding out liquid discharges that are harmful in the environment from these textile factories as well. So the policies in EU US market do also affect Indian textile manufacturing as well, especially when it relates to environmentally harmful chemicals. Same way it is for the leather industry. There was some interesting work done in a project in Kanpur and Uttar Pradesh focused on the leather tannery ecosystem, which is a high pollutant ecosystem as well. And besides just the policy, I think it's also about us as a consumers to consume better. There are now a lot of brands that are manufacturing better, that have recycled inputs in their product lines, and I think it's also about us as consumers to take action and for the ecosystem at large to empower us to make have better decision making as well. I do hope it answers your question, Munish. If you have a follow up, please feel free to just type that in. If you would like, you can always reach out to us over mail as well. There was one more question as well, Alicia, by
yes,
Chaitanya.
yes, I was
There
just
are,
about.
yes, Chaitanya, there are 3,000 local tailoring units in Bangalore Central. We funded to through the Center of the Garbage Discard and encourage to save sort of wages. Yes, Chaitanya. I think that's a very excellent question. I think in some cities we have seen waste management companies directly engage these local tailoring units. I think it's just a matter of aggregation and a certain behavioral or change in the tailoring units themselves. Essentially, at one tailoring unit will never have enough supply to have just one truck go from the tailoring unit to a TRF. So then it's about, can we do, as a lot of waste management companies have optimized, it's basically about route map optimization first. Can we have route map optimization of this mapping of tailoring units to the local DWC, drivers collection center, or the local textile recovery facility? One is on the route optimization to optimize this. Second is on these tailoring units. It's then about asking them to save textile waste till the next collection happens. The same as a household. Hey, instead of throwing away textiles along with your other waste streams, can you just keep it at home for a few days till the next textile waste pickup happens? That's essentially on behavior change. Come behavior change at the tailoring units to reserve it for discard later, one, and route map optimization in Bangalore, I believe linking it to the local TRF, the textile recovery facility, can solve for these for this tailoring waste setup. Yes.
Yes, I think that's the question.
Yes.
Arpita also has one question.
Uh,
If you would like to take, and please do read out the question out loud for other members to also
Sorry.
understand.
I'm Arpita, social media officer at Hasrudala. With EU's recent adoption of textile APR, how do you see India adopting a similar framework with its current waste management ecosystem? Do you see a potential pathway leading to more business opportunity, or does it affect post-consumer textile waste collection and management? Arpita, you are from Hasrudala. First of all, I want to commend Hasrudala, as I also pat my back every once in a while that we did not start doing this work after EPR came to India or after EPR and textiles came to India. I think we were ahead of the curve when we started working on post-consumer textile waste before EPR for textiles came to India. Why? Because it serves itself to be an opportunity and a base where once EPR for textiles comes to India, it can be leveraged better. So, one, from the work that Hasrudala and a lot of other waste management companies, along with NBU, has done, can we inform better policy making that is evidence based policy, that is grounded in insights from the ground and share those with those policymakers for framing EPR guidelines for textiles. Can we have EPR for textiles also influence what are the different types of financing, not only philanthropic, not only grant, influence change in this ecosystem as well? So, absolutely, one, I think EPR for textiles can be influenced better by the change makers such as Hasudala. One. Second, I also see that the work that has been done offers a strong base and preemptive action that has been taken to solve for post-consumer textile waste, which will ensure once API for textile comes to India, good money is not thrown at bad causes or underbaked cakes, basically. I think we are at the stage where when EPR comes to India, we are at the right space to leverage it. And whenever such a policy reform comes in, it will only open up markets. I think we have been able to open up some markets through innovations, through market linkage, through supply, demand, and support. I think it will just really help it explode better, which will result in more motivations from brands and buyers to buy. And naturally, I'm sure waste management companies will also increase their efficiency, their operations to cater to that demand as well. So I do see a good base being in India to leverage whenever EPR for textile comes in.
Yes, that's from the chat. Um, we can go back and address a few more
Yes, please.
questions. There was one particularly from a brand. So, what quality standards and consistency indicators should brand expect from the feedstock?
Well, I think brands expect their quality standards as they are. That's why they've been able to scale as much as they have been. I think brands have to realize that post-consumer textile waste will have to first start with some intentional pilots because recycled inputs will not become, you will not have anytime soon 100% post-consumer textile waste shirts or t-shirts. So it all starts with blending with virgin materials still. And then it is a matter of one, identifying certain channels through which these uniform waste streams can come in through some material science innovation, doing these blending and then factoring that into how it can be scaled over time. So I don't see it as a binary question or if and or kind of a question. I see it as a general graduated approach for brands to adopt. It will start slow with some intentional pilots, with some blending mixes, some iterations, and then it will get to a certain scale where a blend mix will increase as well, and different kinds of brands will adopt as per their requirements, especially when EPR for textiles come in, and also as we see that more consumers in India are also interested in consuming more consciously. I think this will work in lockstep over the future. Hi Vikas, thank you for asking your question. I will just read it out. Where is India with regards to recycling, upcycling percentage? That is, what percentage of waste gets valorized? You mentioned 4 million tons of post-consumer waste and another 3 million tons of pre-consumer waste. Yes, because thank you for this question, because currently 55 to 80%, it was in my initial slides, 55 to 80% of this waste either is getting landfilled or incinerated. And that's, I want to be very honest about that. 2 to 4% gets recycled, nearly 8 to 10% gets into reuse, really. Upcycling will there is one upcycling, recycling, and downcycling. I do think downcycling can solve for a lot of this waste stream and recycling. Upcycling can solve for a small quantity because these quantities are very massive. That is where the focus has to be on different hierarchies of waste and a multiplicity of solutions. So, just to answer your question in brief again, nearly 55 to 80% of the textile waste is landfill or incinerated. The rest all does get valorized in different waste through different forms. Most of it, which is continues to be downcycling, basically. I would also Vikas, to probably add a little more nuance to your question as well. Downcycling usually makes a piece of clothing lose value. Upcycling usually results in gaining value. Uh, Now the question is, if we are going to downcycle at such scale, and that is the most viable solution at large, is that really efficient business? That's why downcycling has to be done, as in the case of the good feather. I just want to point out that downcycling is done with a specific purpose, which is, can you downcycle with technical specifications? You have polyester waste that is invariably getting downcycled. Can you have polyester waste make certain products that generate a higher value? So, felt is a purely technical product. Now, it's a technical product which, for different industries, will have various different technical specifications. In an acoustic industry, it is noise reduction. In the construction industry, it also comes with fire resistance coating as well. So if you make this downcyclable waste and plug it into technical textile waste streams with innovation involved, yes, and working with R&D partners, you can ensure that this piece of waste or discard gains value eventually because of the innovation that you've done. And that's where a lot of focus also has to be, how to innovate to generate additional value, because once that additional value is generated, eventually it would feed back into the waste management companies, also into the waste pickers' livelihoods, which become more stable and dignified over time and more formalized over time, because such a large waste stream is just able to generate more value in the market eventually. So yes. Uh,
Thank you. I actually still just want to check with the audience if there are any follow up questions, even if there are any follow up questions on the other questions. And if there are, please do type in.
Uh,
And
Additionally, we are always happy to for any of you to reach out to us over email as well. I will drop my email ID, personal email ID, to all of you so that you can reach out to me personally as well, because I we do believe that what we have done basically is still the tip of the iceberg. It will take a lot of solutions, a lot of entrepreneurial people, a lot of partners across the board, across the country to eventually solve this at scale. We are mere momentum builders right now who are planning to scale this revolution in the next few years. Happy to have answered your question, Arpita and Vikas. Alicia, any other question that was piece of?
yes, there is one question I think is very uh, initial to our work, and I think we should definitely answer this question.
Yes,
So
please.
it says that how do you build trust and collaboration between formal enterprises and informal workers? And do you see any success in it?
Yes, there are some successes in it. I think the formal and the informal merge, when the informal, first and foremost, has more revenue, more income sources and stable income sources. The reason they've been informal is because just there were not enough margins, there was not enough stable sources of revenues. The critical way to make the informal and the formal merge, as we've been able to do with certain waste management companies, textile recovery facilities, is because we brought a little bit of stability into the operations of textile waste management. And the stability lent itself to waste management companies having regular business, having a line of sight of increased business, and that then pilfers down into them having more supportive systems for waste workers and waste pickers, especially with some of our partners like Hasrogala, which have been the pioneers on working with waste pickers for their dignity and ensuring their livelihood standards are increased, really. Hi, Chaitanya. You have another question. What would your thoughts be on a model that connects local textile shop owners and trading units to consumers, like design school business that use textile scrap recycling who could purchase them for further use? Chaitanya, so any business that has to be built eventually, if I understand correctly, this is a business that aims at basically aggregating a certain kind of supply and putting it out on the market. Eventually, you have to look at two things. One, are you aggregating enough that allows you enough margins and enough top line of revenue to have a well functioning business from it? Either you can just focus as an aggregator basically that does this, especially if you're not doing any value add. That brings me to my second point. If you are aggregating, as we are hoping for our waste management partners, aggregation also leads to value generation and value addition. So my suggestion to you is figure out if you can aggregate. I think that is a really great step that you want to take. Also figure out how to add value to it so that it makes a business case for itself. Hi Vikas, how is the aggregation slash sorting infrastructure for post-consumer textile waste across the country? I believe only Bangalore and possibly two, three more cities are doing it. Because there are two sides to this coin, I would say. Uh, I don't know if you're familiar. I'm sure you must be. There is Wagri community that used to initially come to your homes, who would operate on a barter trade system, who would take your clothes and then you would get commensurate value in utensils in return for your kitchens, basically. That is a aggregating sorting infrastructure that has been working for decades now in this country. But the challenge with that ecosystem is it cannot scale as well. It cannot scale as well, especially when the quality of discards goes lower. As you would have noticed that the Wagri community, whenever they come, they are very, very good at scanning. They are the composition scanners of textiles because they know what exactly to buy, what exactly to sell. So this is inherent knowledge that that community had in different parts of the country. It's just that that knowledge and that skill set has to be able to be scaled well, especially when you're dealing with 4 million tons now. So that is the informal side of this industry, which still functions. The aim is not to replace that. The aim is to supplement that with a more formal system so that the informal can eventually become the formal as well. So, coming back to your question, yes, Bangalore, three cities in Kerala, Bhopal, Aurangabad, Mumbai, and Delhi. So there are 8, 9 cities in India that are doing this. Uh, the aim for our work with CIF, supported by our funders, is that before you scale something, you have to show that it is viable. You have to show that it is replicable, and then you can make it scalable. So it is a momentum that is started on setting a base, making that base viable, and then making blueprints from that base that can be scaled across the country. So in the next few years, you will see that this infrastructure will grow beyond the current cities that it's in, which stands around at around 9 to 10 cities currently.
Ye- I hope this answers the question, and we are closer to our ending time. Um, And if there are no more further questions, I would really like to thank
I do
everybody.
Chaitanya.
Sorry?
No, sorry, I was thanking Chaitanya. Yes, sorry.
Okay. Amazing. Yes, so I would just like to thank everybody for joining in, taking the time out. And this interaction we really wanted because over the years of working, we know that people have questions and they really want to understand how the model works better. And this was one of our experiments to open the platform, not just with slides and us talking, but also like really have a conversation. Your web, you can get your questions answered right live. So thanks again, everybody, for joining in. Thanks, Devansh, for taking all the questions and answering them. If you have any follow up questions, you can reach out to us. There will be a mail that you will receive with the session recording and all the materials that we have built over the past, our reports, our impact report, and where you can also reach out to us. So, yes, that's for today. Thank you so much.
Thank you everyone for joining
You
in.
all.
Please feel free to reach out for any support we can provide, any discussions we can have, and hopefully co-create together as well to make it a circular and inclusive textile industry. Thank you, everyone.